Good morning, everyone. It is August 7th, Erev Shabbos, Parshas Ekev. I hope everyone is getting ready for another great Shabbos here at Eitz Chaim. This will be the first Shabbos that we'll have with us in an official capacity Rabbi Isaac, Yael, and Liba Bernstein. You will see Rabbi Isaac in Shul. Of course, we're not having children yet, so we won't get a chance, but she's such a zis. I hope you do get to meet her. So please, everyone, take the opportunity to reach out, wish them good Shabbos, come to Shul, come meet them. And as my family and I will be going on vacation for a couple of weeks, you're in very, very good hands, and you'll have the opportunity to really get to know Rabbi Bernstein and to hear from his beautiful Torah and be inspired, and you'll understand why he's now part of our Eitz Chaim family and part of the team. We look forward to accomplishing great things as we move forward. Please continue to contribute and partake and participate in our virtual campaign if you have not done so already. Thank you if you have, honoring Barbara and Andy Hutter, original members of Eitz Chaim, and for all they have done, and thanking Yoni Glatt. And we rely heavily on these funds, of course, as we need to function as a synagogue. Please continue to daven for Refuah Shalema, for Mordechai ben Elka, Rabbi Falzev ben Rickel, Noah Alice Bat Lilach Esther, Rezel Basara, Gittel Basara, and all those who need Refuah and Rachmei Shemayim at this time. Klal Yisrael is actually mourning a great loss. Today you may have seen the news out of Israel that Rav Steinsaltz passed away after dealing with an illness. And if you don't know who Rav Steinsaltz was, it's hard to say past terms, look him up. An unbelievable Talmud Chacham, someone who single-handedly made Talmud, Gemara accessible to the masses. And I can only imagine the schar, the reward that is on his tab because of how many people have access to Torah because of his unbelievably meticulous hard work. And it's not just Talmud. He wrote dozens of volumes on all different topics: Jewish law, Jewish thought, Chumash, Tanakh. And it's such a tremendous loss for Klal Yisrael and his family taking over his legacy. But if you do know who Rav Steinsaltz was, then appreciate it. If you don't, then I recommend that you a simple Google search will indicate the mass Torah that he spread in his lifetime. When I was growing up, so there used to be a bit of a controversy about Rav Steinsaltz, and there were some people in certain sects and sectors who felt that it was not the proper way to learn and to study. But one thing that we learn is that Torah outlasts everything. And Torah outlasts even the controversies. The controversies are no more. But the legacy and the Torah that he taught and that he wrote and that he shared and that he spread, that surpasses everything. So once we weed out the noise and we get rid of all the nonsense, we're left with just greatness. So Rav Steinsaltz, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, gone from the Olam today and now into the Olam HaEmes. And I'm sure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is greeting him with open arms, and he's probably already writing his next volume in Shemayim. Our video and our Dvar Torah today is sponsored by Gail and Jeff Toll. Today is the sponsorship, but yesterday on Thursday was the yahrzeit for Gail's father, Avram Yaakov ben Binyamin Yonah, Jack Kreitman. Jack Kreitman, of course, we know, and we're thinking about Claire today as well. Claire, and I hope that you and Morris are doing well, and a very tight-knit and connected family. And let me just tell you a little bit about Jack Kreitman, who was born in Warsaw in 1936. So you can imagine his age when the Shoah took place, but he was able to escape through a very, very long and arduous journey through Siberia, Tashkent, Kazakhstan, and finally to survive and make it here to the shores of America and build, and more importantly, rebuild the family that was lost. He was not one of those survivors who spoke about his experience. As a matter of fact, I'm told that he never spoke about the experience, and all he would say is, what's the point of talking about it, because discussing it is not going to change anything. But I think that change is exactly probably what he did his whole life. and that he changed the arc of his destiny and the path of his life, getting married, raising 5 children, making sure that they all attended yeshiva, seeing grandchildren born, and a person who was extremely intelligent, someone who was not a man of a lot of words, but someone who always enjoyed a good laugh. And Jack Kreitman, again, his yahrzeit yesterday, the 10 years, and even though it's gone 10 years, still sorely missed today. And I'm trying to think of the message, I think, which is so important, which is related to us in our Parsha, which has the words which in and of itself should just remind us of any survivor and anyone who is a bridge to that world that is gone from us. And the Torah in Parshas Ekev, in Perek Tes, in Pasuk Zayin, says, Zechor al tishkach. So before we even know what we're remembering and not forgetting, that's the message right there, Zechor al tishkach. But here Moshe Rabbeinu, in his speech, he says, remember when you got into trouble. Remember the day that you provoked Hashem in the wilderness. From the day you left Egypt until your arrival at this place, you rebelled against Hashem. At Chorev, you rebelled against Hashem, and Hashem became angry and he wanted to destroy you. And nobody likes to be reminded of their faults. Nobody likes to be reminded of their sort of poor episodes in their history. But when Moshe Rabbeinu continues, and he says, I was on the mountain receiving the luchos 40 days and 40 nights. I didn't eat, I didn't drink. Hashem gave me the 2 stone tablets. He gave me the luchos, inscribed with etzba Elokim, inscribed with the finger of God. Va'aleihem kechol hadvarim asher diber Hashem lechem bahar mitocha ish biyom hakahol. And it was on these tablets, so the words that Hashem spoke with you on the mountain from the midst of the fire the day of the congregation. I think that this is not just about reminding us when we did things wrong, when we acted poorly, or when we had negative parts of our history. But I think that the one binding ingredient, or perhaps the one thing that keeps us all together, is the holy words that are written on the luchos, the word of Hashem. And anyone who was able to survive and go through the horrors of what they saw and lose everything, and then still come and build a new life, and try to replace all that was lost, and to extend the family lives of those who were lost by having more children and grandchildren and names and naming after, and someone who believes in God, and someone who believes in Yiddishkeit, and someone who believes in Jewish education. Well, that's exactly what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying. Just because you had episodes in your history where things were taken from you, and where perhaps you didn't understand the way of God, but if you still have the ability to believe in Hashem, and you have the ability to believe in the Torah, and to believe that this is part of our ultimate destiny, to have sort of the larger picture view, I think that's really what this is all about. We probably find ourselves now questioning a lot, like, why does this all happen? Why is everything happening to us like this? Why are we going through this right now? Which, chas v'shalom, to say that this is anything like what was experienced in the Shoah, God forbid. We're alive. We're well, and yes, there's been a tremendous loss of life, but by and large, Baruch Hashem, we're okay, and we have a way forward to deal with this. But it's the Jewish attitude in dealing with adversity, is that we are not defined by it, rather, we're challenged by it, we overcome it, and we find new avenues of faith. And I know Gail and Jeff, and I know your kids, and I know Claire, and I know your sisters, I know the family, and I've seen the way they value Torah, and the way they value Jewish education, and the way they value chesed, and the way that they are so involved in the Jewish community. And that's because that's what your father did. Your father said, you know what? Talking about it is not going to change anything. But that's all you did, is you changed everything. Is that you lived for those neshamas that were taken from us. And you lived your lives, Torah lives, traditional lives, mitzvah lives, chesed lives, tzedakah lives. You live that because that's what your father wanted. So for the 10th yahrzeit, for Avram Yaakov ben Binyamin Yonah, for Jack Kreitman, again, his neshama should have an aliyah. And let's take to heart the words of Moshe Rabbeinu as we go into this Shabbos. And we say, Zechor al tishkach. Remember what happened to us. Don't ever forget. But then again, we have to also remember who we are, where we come from, what our purpose is and what our job is to do in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the eyes of our Maker. We should gather together for Simchas, and again, may his neshama have an aliyah. I wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Hope everyone has a restful Shabbos and enjoyable part of this part of the summer, as a lot of people tend to go away as we prepare for Rosh Chodesh Elul and Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Haba Aleinu L'Tova. And again, I hope everybody is doing well, and we will see you very, very soon.